Hello class, and welcome to part 2 of our Introduction to Jewish Ethics, the concept of law. So we will review the concept of Jewish law, we'll go over some examples of laws in the Torah, and then we'll end with some conclusions. So one of the fundamental beliefs in Judaism is that God has provided God's chosen people with a collection of sacred laws and ordinances. And in the Jewish tradition it is taught that it is the duty of Jews to faithfully adhere to these sacred laws as transcribed by Moses in the Torah. So what we have here is probably the most famous collection of laws in the Torah, the Ten Commandments. So as you can see, it's comprised of 2 tablets, and usually what is on the left tablet are ordinances concerning God, and on the right is ordinances concerning one's neighbor. So on the left is like ordinances or laws concerning the relation between humans and God, and on the right between humans and humans. So the first commandment, as we can see, one shall not worship other gods besides the true God, according to the Jewish tradition. Restrictions against making any graven images, not taking the Lord's name in vain, and remembering the Sabbath day. And then on the right we have laws concerning honoring father and mother, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, no bearing of false witness, and not coveting anything that is of your neighbors. Now in Judaism, the 10 Commandments are considered a summary of God's sacred law, so they are not the sum total of God's sacred law. However, the 10 Commandments are further elucidated by hundreds of specific laws in the books of Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. So generally speaking, there are 3 different types of laws that appear in the Torah: physical laws, spiritual laws, and social, political, moral laws. So physical laws are rules pertaining to hygiene and diet, such as kosher laws, for example. Spiritual laws refer to rules regarding devotion, prayer, and repentance, like the confession of sin, not worshiping other gods, holy days to be observed. And social political laws are rules regarding human conduct, things like marriage laws, theft laws, rules regarding the treatments of others, charity, etc. So in the following slides, we're going to go over an example of each of these types of laws in the Torah. So here we have a series of physical laws in Leviticus 19. Do not eat meat with the blood still in it. Do not practice divination or soothsaying. Do not clip your hair at the temples, nor trim the edges of your beard. Do not lacerate your bodies for the dead, and do not tattoo yourselves. I am the Lord. So again, we have right off the bat a rule regarding diet, so not eating meat with the blood still in it. Again, something that is still practiced by Jews who follow kosher laws today. Not clipping the hair at the temples, no tattooing or the lacerating of your bodies. So again, laws regarding how you are to treat or be in relationship to your physical body. And we also have some spiritual laws. Again, do not practice divination or soothsaying. In other words, like don't go to your local like tarot card reader or future teller. Secondly, we have some spiritual laws from the book of Deuteronomy. Observe the month of Abib by keeping the Passover of the Lord your God, since it was in the month of Abib that he brought you by night out of Egypt. You shall offer the Passover sacrifice from your flock or your herd to the Lord your God in the place in which he chooses as the dwelling place of his name. So why is this a spiritual law? Because it is a prescription or a law concerning the practicing of a holy day, in this case, the holy day of Passover. And we have some moral, political, kind of social laws in the book of Deuteronomy. If one of your kinsmen in any community is in need in the land which you, your God, is giving you, you shall not harden your heart nor close your hand to him in his need. Instead, you shall open your hand to him and freely lend him enough to meet his need. So we have a law here concerning charity, a commandment to give to people in your community who are in need. Now here's a question for us to consider. Why should the Jewish people follow the laws of the Torah? That is, if you read the Torah, you're going to see there are hundreds of very specific, highly demanding laws that the Jews are to follow. So why should the Jewish people bother to follow them, right? What is the logic here? Well, let us read this explanation from Deuteronomy 11. If you will only heed his every commandment that I am commanding you today, loving the Lord your God and serving him with all your heart and with all your soul, then he will give the rain for your land in its season, the early rain and the later rain. And you will gather in your grain, your wine, and your oil, and he will give grass in your fields for your livestock. You will eat your fill. So in other words, if the Jewish people follow every one of God's commandments, then God will provide for them, giving them rain and food and grass for the livestock, and the Jewish people will flourish, right? They will eat their fill and they will not starve. However, when we look at the second half of this passage from Deuteronomy 11, take care or you will be seduced into turning away, serving other gods and worshiping them. For then the anger of the Lord will be kindled against you, and he will shut up the heavens, so that there will be no rain, and the land will yield no fruit. Then you will perish quickly off the good land that the Lord is giving you. So if the Jewish people follow every commandment, then they will flourish. But if they do not, then they will perish quickly, and God will stop providing for them. So there are certain earthly benefits, as it were, to following the commandments of God. Now there are other reasons besides earthly benefits for following God's sacred law. As it says here in the book of Leviticus, the Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the entire assembly of Israel and say to them, 'Be holy because I, the Lord your God, am holy.'" Now after this, what is called the holiness code kind of saying, there are a list of laws. So basically what this sentence is saying is that if the Jewish people should follow God's commandments, then they will become holy, that they will become like God or closer to God. So there are certain spiritual benefits to following these commandments as well. And this is also demonstrated in the book of Leviticus. Now if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all the nations you will be my treasured possession. Although the whole earth is mine, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words you are to speak to the Israelites. So again, these are the words of God to Moses to deliver to the Israelites. And so as it is said here, if the covenant is followed and the Jewish people follow or are faithful to all of God's commandments, they will become a holy nation, a kingdom of priests. So again, there's a kind of sanctifying quality to following the sacred laws of God. So in conclusion, according to the Torah, the Jewish people should follow the laws in the Torah because, 1, the Jewish people will flourish on earth. So again, there are earthly benefits. But secondly, there are also spiritual benefits. The law is holy, and hence it makes the Jewish people holy should they follow it.